Hein. The trailer is a native plant garden, and we have one man that's basically responsible for this. He's done most of the work. That's Dave Cornelia. And he's done a really neat job. He's put in some water plants, and this spring we had tadpoles like you wouldn't believe. We have coyote bush here. He's got thistles. He's got a manzanita. He has all the sages, which are really fun to smell.
Just past the native plant garden, you're likely to see and hear a few busy little rodents. These are California ground squirrels.
During the 19th century, there was such a plague on some of the ranches that the state legislature passed a bill affecting only Contra Costa and parts of Alameda County. It set up special ground squirrel eradication districts. And the local ranchers were ordered to serve several days a year on a ground squirrel eradication force. Now, it was just like the Civil War. They could hire a substitute if they wanted to. For a time, a bounty was put on ground squirrel pelts, but some of the ranchers quickly figured out it was more profitable to raise ground squirrels for their pelts than to raise cattle for the meat.
Ground squirrels are amazing creatures, really. Skillful communicators that make different sounds in different situations. Adults can even develop an immunity to rattlesnake venom.
Some of these adult ground squirrels actually get deliberately bitten. They'll take the tissue damage to build up the antibodies. But what doesn't have the immunity are the babies. So you'll often see the snakes looking for the ground squirrel holes, trying to get in after the babies, and the adults mobbing the snakes, kicking dirt on them. They like to pump blood into their tails and present two targets to the rattlesnakes, utterly confuse them. Of course, rattlesnakes have infrared vision, and they detect the heat from the ground squirrels, and all of a sudden they're seeing two targets where before there was one. So there's a whole strategy there between the snakes and the ground squirrels. And here on Mount Diablo, it's interesting. You hear the high-pitched squeak. It's a ground squirrel. And if you get really good at it, you can tell what is actually disturbing the ground squirrel because they have a different warning call depending on the animal that is upsetting them at the time. I believe it's a single high-pitched squeak for a raptor, and then they bolt for their tunnel. For a snake, it's a persistent, continuous squeaking. And for a coyote or for a particularly obnoxious dog or person, it will be a series of squeaks and then back to the hole.
Back in the 1860s, people in Clayton were promoting tourism along the same route we're about to take. So our journey is part of a tradition that goes back at least that far, and maybe even farther, given Native Americans' presence in the Bay Area for thousands of years. Our next stop is signpost number 1. It's just a few minutes up the Mitchell Canyon Road, on your left, at the edge of a big meadow.